Welcome back to Lords, and we're just about to start the second innings of this Vitality T20 Blast, the London derby between Middlesex and Surrey. Surrey are 1-0 up, having won the home leg about a week or so ago in easy fashion at the end. It was a low-scoring affair, but this one, if it's going to be a close one, it's going to be a high-scoring affair. Ms. Westbury, Dave Fulton to my right. Surrey made 218 for 5. Well, I'd say we've got a game on our hands.
Izzy, we've got a game on our hands, but at the moment it is advantage Surrey. No question about that. Those runs on the board, you don't chase to 18 down too often. But an opportunity, and I think these opening exchanges are going to be key. Stevie Eskenazi, Max Holden, they've been the standout batsmen for Middlesex in this year's campaign, and they're going to have a wily old campaigner in Reece Topley up against them.
Eskenazi off the mark straight away. How often have we seen that? Just guiding it down to third man. Yes, Eskenazi averaging just over 45, 273 runs in this campaign. Holden not far behind him. He's on 202, also averaging 40. And it's a nice left-hand, right-hand combination. It's one that Middlesex perhaps weren't expecting this year. You think normally that top four slot is sort of A.B. de Villiers, David Milan in the past, Sterling, Morgan. These two youngsters having a go at it. Flash of the bat there from Holden. Not quite sure what he was intending to do there. He survives at least. He's Topley, T20 specialist these days.
Yeah, it's a good story, isn't it, Reece Topley? Back from all kinds of back surgeries. I think he's had 3 of them. Had many counties, of course. Essex and Hampshire and Sussex. And now at Surrey. See that familiar move, almost Rory Burns-esque, of Holden's head.
Patted back at the bowler. Good speeds, lines, lengths there from Reece Topley.
A little bit of swing, wasn't there? Last couple of deliveries, he'll try and get the ball to move away from the left-handed batsman through the air, use the slope to good effect.
Here he comes again. Another drive, another miss. Just wonder, Holden, so eager. I think that's the problem when you've got such an imposing total. You just need to get going.
Yeah, well, if you remember, there was a classical forward defensive, wasn't there, from Hashim Amla, kind of second or third ball to Tom Helm. Just recognised it as being a good delivery and went, yep, we got plenty of time. 120 balls, it seems like a crash-bang-wallop kind of game, but you get a good one, you still got to keep it out. They're the rules of batting.
Oh, the top edge is going to fly over the keeper. Only just, though, as you run down to the boundary edge, and it's beaten 4 fielders converging on the ball. The ball's the winner. That was almost comical.
That was brilliant, wasn't it? I mean, a wholehearted effort from the Surrey keeper and slip, and I think was Amla going from short, fine leg, and third man was coming round. But yeah, he had just the right amount of pace on it. And it was kind of running away. Sometimes when you get those top edges and then onto the helmet, and he's just looking at his helmet now, Max Holden, so perhaps we have to have some sort of safety check because it did top edge onto the lid. Sometimes you get a little bit of top spin, and when it landed I thought perhaps it wasn't going to get there, but just ran away with a bit of top spin. Physio, check this out, make sure all is okay and that Holden's helmet's fit to continue.
Well, folks knew straight away that he wasn't going to be in with a chance of a catch, so even almost as soon as the ball flew off the bat, he was running down to the boundary. It's a short one down there. He had 4 different fielders. I think there was slip, there was the short fine leg, and then there was third man careering through from the boundary edge, all coming in. Danger of collision almost there.
Yeah, I guess at least they were all running in kind of the same direction. I was at Arundel for that horrible crash between Rory Burns and Moses Enriques, and yeah, that was very, very nasty. Game abandoned when they went head on to each other.
Tempted pull there from Holden, almost plays it onto his stumps. I think it's hit him in the chest, so he just had one on the helmet, and he's got one on the chest now. He's getting a bit peppered. Poor man. Yeah,
Reece Topley's not expressed, but he's just hitting that nagging back of a length, and you're right about the total, Izzy. When you're looking for 219 runs, you can't afford too many back foot defensives, so you try and very quickly essay the old pull shot to something that's not quite there, and Holden will have a souvenir in the morning. Oh, nice big shiny purple patch on one of his ribs.
Well, 5 off the first over then, they're going to need to double that. that run rate if they're going to get anywhere near that total from Surrey, and it looks as though they're going to go and opt for Gareth Batty there.
I think it's Will Jacks.
Is it Will Jacks?
Yes, Will Jacks, not a bad game, is it? As a youngster, open the batting, open the bowling, be the main man in short form cricket. Quite often just hides an over early in the power play.
Spin to start. Holds it into Eskenazi.
Around 50 yards away. But Gareth Batty, he doesn't look 21, is he? Let me tell you. None of us do anymore.
Holden advancing down the track. He really wants a piece of this, but he's not getting it so far. Thick inside edge, teams away to mid-wicket.
Yeah, well, he got a piece of it. He got a very small piece of it, not the piece he wanted. You're right. He's a bit scrappy at the moment, Max Holden. He's just got to settle into his work.
Jackson and Eskenazi turns us onto the onside. Another single. I just wonder, so we talked about how Middlesex have favoured batting first, and it gives them that freedom. They've got nothing to chase, no total. The stage is theirs. And Holden, I mean, he's still a really young man. Only 22 years of age, is around the wicket, and a big heave into the onside. Does not connect at all. He's just trying too much. He wants to get to that run rate too quickly.
Yeah, it's clever bowling by Jacks, isn't it? He held that one back, bowled it slower, gave it a bit of a tweak. It just turned up the hill a fraction. And Holden hacking away at the moment.
Holden, 5 off 7. He turns that off his hips into the onside.
And that's where Stevie Eskenazi's got a role to play. You know, he's Bob Willis Trophy captain. He's the experienced man out there. He doesn't have a lot of miles on the clock himself, Eskenazi, but he'll just tell his younger partner just to settle down. You know, Max, you're a good player. We know how quickly you can score. You'll catch the run rate up. Just get yourself in. You throw your wicket away here, and suddenly you're 10 for 1. Middlesex really are up against it.
Final ball of his second over. And Eskenazi again nudging it into the onside. They're going to come back for 2. They're thinking about it. Good fielding and a slip and slide in the outfield there. Be careful. That's where you pick up a strain of something. But he's recovered all right.
Yeah, good start this from Surrey. We saw with the bat, didn't we, after a couple of overs. They were going at 10s, they were 20 without loss. Middlesex half that. So they will have to put their foot down at some point, but you've also got to get yourself in. Topley
to continue from the pavilion end. No surprises there. Good opening over. Eskenazi 4 from 4. Advances down the track. Slapped into the onside. Flat as a pancake. Absolutely beautiful shot. Just raced away. Dismissive there from Eskenazi. Moves to 10. Middlesex 16 without loss.
Yeah, flew straight over the night Frank ball, didn't it? Like an absolute rocket, like a 2-iron. Low trajectory. I think it might be Jamie Overton standing in front of it. He's a tough man to get it over. He managed it.
Eskenazi once more trying to give himself room, moving into the onside, but this time can only manage inside edge down to Amler at short fine. So 7 off the first 2 deliveries here, and I'll give Holden some encouragement.
Yeah, it's important if the man at the other end is struggling. So Stevie Eskenazi just releasing a little bit of pressure, not just on himself, but a little bit on Holden as well. He's got the scoreboard ticking with a couple of boundaries. It can just allow Holden to chew a couple of balls.
Shouts of catch as it falls just short of the fielder. A backward point. It went hard, it went fast, but it was aerial for a little while. No chance of a catch in the end, but did well to parry it to stop the boundary. In fact, to stop any run at all.
Yeah, it was Laurie Evans just a couple of yards in front of him. He got Burns at backward point. Evans almost on square, so they're very close together. I know Holden likes that cover drive.
Topley to Holden. Plays it down to third man. Brings Eskenazi on strike. He's got 2 deliveries to face here. This Topley over. And what Middlesex won't want to do is, with Holden not quite timing it, is just piling on that pressure to Eskenazi, where he suddenly thinks, oh, I need to do the bulk of the work here, because he's timing it beautifully, as he has done all tournament. He's got to trust himself. Back over the bowler's head. Well, he's trusted himself with that one, because that is a gorgeous looking straight drive down the ground for 6. Middlesex to 24, Eskenazi to 17. I'll tell you who isn't flustered. It's that man in the middle.
2 wonderful strokes from Stevie Eskenazi. That was the better of them because it was straighter. And Rhys Topley is not an easy man to put back over his head. Made a lovely sound off the willow, didn't it? Contrast Jamie Overton with those 6s he was hitting with a kind of horrible noise that was making. I mean, the ball went far enough. Make no mistake about that. But that was a lovely thump. And once again, it is a box of balls that has come out to the middle. The umpires, you can just see there in the back of your picture, just consulting. New balls, please. He's got a lot in that box. Having a little count up, I reckon from here I can spot about 15 balls in that box. So maybe that's a good sign for Middlesex. That's what they've got to play with. They can lose 14, and we've still got a game. Gareth Batty's he's an interested spectator alongside umpire Ben Debenham, maybe just picking one out that's trying to get the softest one he can find. He's a canny operator, the 42-year-old. He won't miss a trick.
Final ball of his 3rd over. Eskenazi, what can he do? Drives it down the ground, straight to extra cover. And it's a dot ball to end the over. 24 for no wicket. 3 overs gone.
So fine start from Stevie Eskenazi. He's 17 off 8. Max Holden's got a little bit catching up to do. 7 off 10, hasn't quite been in his fluent best. Top edge 4 over the keeper via his helmet. He's worn 1 in the ribs. But the good news is that when you're out there, you can do something about it. The trick is not to get too frustrated and then throw it away. You walk off with 7 from 11 or 12 and you're back in the hutch and that's your game done. You've got to find that balance between upping the run rate and staying in.
Holden on strike. Oh, that's got hold of that one. 8 or 9 rows back. There's Atkinson to the fray. His first ball has been pummeled into the stands for 6. That's one way to get things back where you want them. Beautiful shot there from Holden. Middlesex moved to 30.
Yeah, and suddenly he's 13 from 11. He's in front of balls faced, and everything is looking that much rosier in his world. And that's the point I was making, really, and I'm sure that's what Stevie Eskenazi would have been saying to him. He's faced a few dots, but you catch it up pretty quickly here with that short tavern side boundary.
Atkinson again, and the diving attempted catch there. Rory Burns through the air to his right. It was going at some pace. It would have been one hell of a catch, a cracking catch if he'd managed to hold on to it, but it just was too quick for him.
Well, I reckon that's a pretty good result from a Surrey perspective, because Max Holden laced that through at Rory Burns, and he was full stretch, goalkeeper style, and he saved 3 runs. I mean, yes, technically it's a drop catch, but
yeah,
they take some catching those. And he did well to parry it. Just putting one finger up, maybe he's got one finger left after that. Looked like it stung a bit.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Atkinson to Eskenazi, gives himself room, plays it into the offside single. Out to backward point on the boundary.
And this is, I think, what Middlesex have got to do. If they're going to chase down 219, they've almost got to target a bowler. You know, someone like a Gareth Batty, wily campaigner. Daniel Moriarty's had a terrific campaign as well. So you think, maybe Atkinson, young seamer, nice pace to hit. Maybe he's the one who's got to go.
Doesn't get any bat on it. That one from Holden. Well, it's a brave thing to do. And Atkinson's best figures in this format, 2 for 18, were in their match against Middlesex in the home fixture. So he's got good form against this side. But as you say, he's a young man. He's gone economy rate of just hovering under 9 in the format. He's the one, perhaps, they've decided. Holden, big flash, misses that one. Back-to-back dots, that's useful. Sounds as though little cut there to Rory Burns' finger. I think he might get a dressing on it at some point. Support staff from Surrey around the outfield. Not surprised, really. The way in which he wore it. It's like a change in the field. Backward points pushed out to the boundary. And it's a good change in the field because the ball has gone straight to him. Surrey just popped up Topley from third man down on the boundary, pushed out backward point, and it was a stroke of excellence from the Surrey captain Gareth Batty, because it dismissed Holden and has brought Atkinson his first wicket.
Yeah, good bit of work from Gareth Batty. We talked about Owen Morgan earlier, didn't we? Pulling the strings, vastly experienced England captain and a vastly experienced Surrey captain. There's not much that Gareth Batty hasn't seen in the T20 Blast format. And he just knew exactly what he was doing there. He kind of sensed, sometimes you get a sense, an instinct as a captain that the batsman's looking to go big. And Holden had hit that six earlier in the over. He flashed at a couple outside off stump. And Atkinson did his bit, banged it in. And sure enough, he picked the man out on the fence that Batty had moved straight there. It was Jamie Smith. Holden's gone for 14. And now we have the debutant, Joe Cracknell. What can you do, young man? It's a tall order.
Yeah, it's indeed a stop-start innings there from Holden. Didn't really get going, then we saw him wallet one into the stands. I felt as though maybe he was just about gearing things up, just beginning. Wasn't to be. Eskenazi 18 from 9 at the other end, but it's Cracknell. It's going to be the man on strike to face the first ball of this fifth over. Middlesex 32 for 1, chasing 218. Jamie Overton into the attack. Cracknell just pushing it back at the bowler. Trying to turn it onto the onside. Rose up on him pretty quickly. That's a bit of an introduction to proceedings. Hello, here's Jamie.
Yes, Jamie Overton, who can bowl 90 plus mile an hour. Welcome to T20 cricket, young man. If he can get his side over the line, this will be a fine debut indeed. What a challenge ahead of him.
Past the outside edge, through to keeper. Too quick. Cracknell just walks away to square leg. Bit of gardening. Collects his thoughts.
Yeah, and Stevie Eskenazi once again just sauntering down. If Max Holden was a junior partner, then Joe Cracknell most certainly is. And Eskenazi probably just telling him, just don't worry about it. He got beaten all ends up by that one, and his body language already, his head was back, looking at the stars. You know, his body language is as of a young man who's slightly nervous and slightly impatient at the moment.
Overton, back of a length, shorter ball. Cracknell flays his bat at it. I feel as though Overton, every single time he comes down through his follow-through, right up in the batter's nose almost. He's an imposing figure. That's certain.
Yeah, and you can hear the Surrey fielders, can't you? Another dot here, another dot. Just trying to pile some pressure. Cracknell will be thinking hard. He's got a man who's bowling quickly. He's none from 3.
It's baton note this time. Straight to backward point. He's a shy at the non-striker's end, but Eskenazi had not left his crease, and so we've got 4 dot balls in a row. Testing time to Middlesex.
Yeah, just 20. Joe Cracknell, product of the Middlesex Academy. And this, a baptism of fire. 219 you've got to get. And you've got Jamie Overton roaring in at you.
Well, that's one way to break the drought. 4 runs over mid-on. A composed looking shot there from Cracknell. Really well timed. Didn't have to move his feet all that much. After having faced 4 dot balls, 20-year-old up against Jamie Overton. It's a very composed answer.
Yeah, he needed that. It was a bit fuller, it was in the slot, still takes some doing. The man, Jamie Overton, over mid-on.
Final ball, 6 runs. My goodness me, he's got hold of that. It has hit the top of the scorer's board. Old Father Time almost in danger there. You talked about a few big sixes we've seen tonight already. That was the biggest of the lot, and it's come from 20-year-old Joe Cracknell against Jamie Overton. He faced 4 dot balls, then we've seen 4, 6, 10 off the over. That's got him going.
Cool, that'll make him feel a whole lot better. Old Father Time was ducking for cover, wasn't he? Just above the clock there, he just picked that one up sweet as you like. 2 cracking shots, none from 4, pressure on his shoulders, Surrey fielders in his ears, and then suddenly wallop 4, wallop 6, and all is right in his world again. He's 10 from 6, and he'll be feeling a damn sight better.
Yeah, 0 from 4 to 10 from 6. My goodness me.
So we're going to have a change of bowling. It's going to be Will Jacks as it back into the attack. Still no Gareth Batty. He's bowling to Eskenazi, turns into the leg side. I think I would be keen if I was Eskenazi to get Cracknell back on strike. He's obviously got some power. He's a strongly built young man. It's like, you go and play your game, young man. You just try and ride the crest of a wave. 4-6. He's got a licence now. 4 balls to get your eye in, and away you go.
It's taking a while for me to get over that shot.
This time he's more watchful, just turning it into the leg side. A little bit of turn and bounce there from Jacks. This is a used pitch. Yeah, I mean, he hit it beautifully. I'm just pleased that he didn't crash it into the clock or knock Father Time off his perch. That would have been a slightly disappointing situation. As Jacks is in again. He's bowling to Eskenazi, who's cutting. The offside field is all up in the ring. They're going to try and pinch a single. Cracknell's going to have to hurry. I think he's okay. But that tested the old hamstrings. Eskenazi giving himself room because we're still in the power play, and Gareth Batty's got all his offside fielders in the ring. This field to me crying out for a reverse sweep. And the wicket just chipping into the gap. It's not a bad shot. Just a little pitching wedge, bit of spin. Take the single.
Yeah, hung up in the air for a little while. You just thought, oh dear. No fielders there though. Nice empty space. That's all right. Just rotate the strike.
So change of field. Jacks is going to come round the wicket. Back goes long leg. Up comes long on to mid on. There is the reverse sweep. It's Batty's fielding, a backward point. No run. So 1 ball remaining of the power play. 46 for 1. Try and go past 50 here, Middlesex. Eskenazi will just take the single. Think about a second. They decide against. 47 for 1 at the end of 6. So bowling change. Jamie Overton smoked for that 4 and 6. Off the last 2 balls of his over, they're going to turn to Daniel Moriarty. Really impressed with what I saw of him down at Canterbury, just 21 years of age. It's just his 7th match, averaging 15, an economy of 6.5. 3 for 25 he took at the Spitfire ground. Really good economy and accuracy, gives it a tweak. He's bowling from the pavilion end, just pulled out by Eskenazi to deep mid wicket where Overton fields.
I want to watch that replay of that 6 again. I just want to watch on a loop.
I presume the Middlesex social media feed will have highlights a little bit later, will they? Tomorrow morning, I'm being told, as Cracknell cuts into the offside. So if you want to see that 6 again, might be an opportunity to take it back on the stream. I don't know the technology, but certainly tomorrow that 6 might feature prominently on Middlesex's social media feeds. That's Moriarty to Eskenazi, who's cutting, and Cracknell has to hurry here. He's diving, but he gets in. So Middlesex 50 is up in the 7th over. Just need to get a little bit of a shift on. 50 off 39. I think Surrey were 50 off 32. Smoking that into the leg side is Joe Cracknell. Once again, it's a single, and singles don't hurt Surrey.
Dave, I think you're being sledged by the BBC commentary box.
What's happening? Because I've got my Middlesex hat on.
Yeah, Kevin Hand is...
Oh, that's good from Eskenazi. That's a maximum. He's been in fine touch in this T20 Blast campaign, and he just stretched out for that one, swept it square on the leg side. And that is another 6, and that is what Middlesex need. If they're going to chase this target of 219 down, they're going to need plenty of those. Eskenazi turning into the leg side. Cracknell's hurrying. Eskenazi just ambling down. He knows that that's not a 2. So that concludes the Moriarty over. That, ladies and gentlemen, is what Joe Cracknell can do. There is redevelopment work going on all over Lords at the moment. I don't think that was the intended area for that redevelopment, but someone, a bit of polyfiller, smooth that over. Cracknell doing damage on Blast debut. There you go.
I feel like you should give him sort of a chunk of it as a souvenir. I'm sure they used to do that with the Berlin Wall. People would go and get chunks of it. I think he deserves a chunk of the score box.
Yeah, I mean, I think if it had bounced off Father Time or the clock, then that would have been a suitable souvenir, but Berlin Wall, that's not. Eskenazi continuing just to knock those singles into the onside. And Jax fields off his own bowling. I think that's Jax. Not going to make the same mistake and call him Gareth Batty. Still persevering with his off-spin. Cracknell is sweeping. They get a single for it. Tough to come back for 2 when you start from the running position of down on one knee. Interesting, Batty hasn't opted for himself. Past the power play into the 8th over. This should be fascinating to see how Stevie Eskenazi paces this run chase. He's on to 32, just 19 deliveries. He's content to pick the singles up when they're on offer, which is what I like. I think how Max Holden was kind of thrashing at air a little bit, getting a touch impatient. Eskenazi taking what's on offer. Cracknell was trying to sweep, gets right across outside off stump. He might get a couple here by virtue of the fact it's 39-year-old Hashim Amla. Actually, I might be doing him a disservice there. Hashim Amla's only 37. It was Batty who was 39. No, it wasn't.
Batty's 42.
But Batty's 42. It was Murtagh who was 39. There's a few old ones in this game.
Vintage.
They're still whippersnappers compared to me, is he? But the Amla fielding there, so they get back for 2 quite comfortably. Leg buys. Good bit of bowling that from Jack, slower and wider. Cracknell can only pick out Gareth Batty dot ball.
I wonder if they just think, see where we are at halfway mark.
Dangerous ploy. This is a sweep that's nailed in the gap, but round comes Reece Topley, and they only get the single. So good looking shot from Joe Cracknell once again. He's finding the middle of the bat, but Surrey have their fielders in the right place. 64 for 1 after 8. So just a little bit behind the rate at the moment.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. I think you kind of look where you're at 10 overs, but you can't afford to just dawdle on your way to the halfway point.
No.
You've got to keep pushing, but I think you're right. At 10 overs, you'll know what the equation is. You know, what's possible off 10, maybe 110, 120 even.
Yeah, it must have been to the halfway mark. It must have been, right, let's see if we can just keep within touching distance. You know, we might not be at the rate, but let's make sure we give ourselves a chance.
Moriarty smoking it to the leg side is Cracknell. A little bit of a slog this one. He didn't get all of it. He's going to pick up a single. Yeah, I think what you can do in a chase of 219, you go too hard too early, you find yourself 3 or 4 down, you're out, this game's gone. Middlesex haven't made that mistake. Moriarty is in. Eskenazi once again taking the single on offer.
And that's kind of what you feel is the difference between the Holden versus Eskenazi approach. Holden was just almost thinking, I've got to go from the off. Eskenazi's been quite content to time it, to take the strike, but he's still there.
Cracknell goes again, trying to wreak his own particular brand of havoc into the leg side. We've already seen him damage the buildings. He was trying again there, but a bit of a bottom edge. Yeah, it could have been a case of, Eskenazi said, I'll knock it around, Max, you go for the big shots. It didn't quite work out for Holden. Wide outside leg stump. Moriarty perhaps thinking that Eskenazi was advancing, threw it wide into the neat gloves of Ben Folkes. Always makes keeping look so effortless. Shorter for Moriarty, and this, it's going to be 6. Another maximum from Eskenazi. He's got all his 6s over that short leg side, tavern side boundary. One off Reece Topley flew. And that one, is that his 4th 6? He did hit one straight, didn't he, off Topley down the ground, I think.
Yep, it was 4th 6 indeed. It was taunting almost, wasn't it? Just evaded the fielders there in between square leg and mid wicket.
2 balls left of the 9th over. Eskenazi sweeping, top edges it into his grill. I don't think they'll check the helmet for this one. They do like to be extra careful. Eskenazi kind of running towards the pavilion. Do I need to get it checked, he says, to umpire Ben Debenham. I think they might be calling, no, they're telling him to stay, I think. He's okay. But yeah, a little top edge into the grill. I think they worry more about when it hits the helmet on the shell, that it doesn't do too much damage, but I think the grill's okay. Brings Cracknell back onto strike, so Middlesex...
Oh, I think they've asked for it.
They're going to have to do it. This is the protocols. If we haven't got COVID protocols, we've got concussion protocols and helmet protocols.
It's a dangerous game.
Yeah, so the physio's going to run on. My guess is he's going to look at the helmet, and then he's going to hand it back to Eskenazi and say it's okay to carry on, but he hasn't brought a spare one out with him. Have a look. Looks all right to me. There we go. Carry on. Got to be done. To smack slightly of going through the motions.
I don't think Eskenazi was too
Wasn't too worried, was he?
worried about it.
Here we go. Last ball of the 9th over. Cracknell back on strike, and he's cutting, trying to get it through that gap. Good bit of fielding once again. Surrey, I think at the moment, difference between the two sides, possibly just in the field. Surrey shading it. Middlesex going along nicely. 76 for 1 after 9.
So, lots to do then for Middlesex. 9 overs gone. 76 for 1, chasing 218 for 5.
Here he comes. The 57-year-old Gareth Batty. Sorry, 42-year-old Gareth Batty. I don't know, it's difficult to tell from him. He spent a lot of time out in the sun. He's bowling from the Surrey, a reverse sweep by Cracknell. That is no way to treat a 42-year-old experienced Gareth Batty. Just turns himself round, flicks it behind square. Another boundary to the increasingly impressive Joe Cracknell. He's on to 23, Middlesex 80 for 1 now.
Very composed shot there from Cracknell. Right in the gap.
Sweeping again, this time lapping. Gets it fine. Amla with the throw, but comfortable single. Eskenazi jogging through.
I forgot what a prolific Kapila batter he is. Every ball you feel as though there's always the wicket. Something's happening.
Turn into the leg side. Eskenazi wants to. They might get there. No, good decision, I think, from Cracknell. Just trying to see who that is herring in. I think it's Jamie Smith, is it? I can't quite see from here, but out on the leg side boundary.
I net quite often on a Wednesday evening with a bunch of boys down at Southwark, and Felix White, people tune into the BBC Tailenders podcast, it's one of the hosts.
Batty smoked back. Cracknell once again hitting that hard, hitting it straight. Bisects the fielders, long on, long off. He's going to get another boundary. 28 he is now, 86 for 1. Sorry, is he?
Felix White is a Gareth Batty mould kind of appealer. Every single ball he thinks, it will tell you that it was almost there. Sort of reaction after every single ball.
Oh, no need to appeal for that one. I think that has castled him. You don't hit Gareth Batty for 2 fours and get away with it on debut. He's Surrey captain has answered him in style, and now he's having a word with Stevie Eskenazi. Still as combative as ever. Cracknell is on his way for 28. He's played a fine hand, a real cameo from the debutant. But that is a big scalp because it looks like he hits a long ball. He has gone. Middlesex at 86 for 2.
Eskenazi has had a few words with Batty there. I just wonder if he said something as he left the field. Maybe he felt that it was uncalled for against the youngster, but who knows? We don't know what happened out there. But a few words certainly between the two teams. That happens at the heat of the moment.
Yeah, well, my instinct is that Gareth Batty wouldn't have liked the youngster smacking him originally for 4 with the reverse sweep and then the straight drive, and then of course to get him out next ball, knowing Batty, as most of us do, combative, might have given him a little exuberant send off, and Eskenazi wouldn't have enjoyed that. So that's my reading of it from 150 yards away, and it's my best guess, is he?
Well, for somebody, I mean, that's what keeps him going, isn't it? For somebody that's been in the game for such a long time, you need to have that ultra-competitive streak, and I'd say that Batty has it in huge swathes. Still very competitive, very talented, of course, campaigner.
So John Simpson, the new batsman, that is an indication of what Middlesex are thinking. He just turns into the offside, but Eskenazi sends him back. The fact they're putting Simpson in now suggests that they know this is a tall order. He is their most dangerous striker, probably from here on in. So they're getting him in with plenty of balls, not going to waste him.
Yeah, well, he came in, it was his knock of 30 not out against Hampshire that really brought Middlesex to a competitive total and a winning total in the end. 30 not out of 19 balls. He scored earlier in the season 46 off 31 against Sussex. Strike rate in the format of 129. He's somebody with just a little bit more experience in a difficult situation that can keep that run rate going, but also not sort of feel the pressure too much that perhaps some of the other youngsters, such an imposing total, that run rate, required run rate, over 13 per over now. You feel that if Simpson's the one to pull them out of this, just him, as this is flung, reached for, wide outside off stump, wide and full. Eskenazi really having to reach far into the offside. Overton not happy with his field placing. He's bringing up third man. Or are they doing a swap? No, he's doing a swap. He knows who he wants in each position.
Yeah, it's never nice. Never nice when the ball goes past you and the captain or the bowler swaps you out of that position.
Yeah, very particular. Here he comes again. Big thrash of the bat. Missed it. That was wide outside off.
Yeah, interesting tactic. We saw Middlesex go wide outside off to Hashim Amla, but they did so with 2 leg side fielders in the power play, so there was no one back. But I think this is quite a good tactic because that leg side boundary is short. Eskenazi's targeted it 3 times now, 3 maximums over that square leg fence, 1 over long on. Just think if they can keep wide outside off stump. And yeah, he might slice it backward of square for 4, but it's going to be tough to hit 6s.
Overton again wide, a bit shorter this time. Eskenazi rises onto his toes, cuts it through the covers. Single out to the man at cover point. Lots of work to do for Middlesex. 89 for 2, chasing 218. 130 runs to win, 57 balls left to do it in. That's a task.
Yeah, it's a really tough ask, isn't it? You said get to halfway and see where you're at. Well, they're probably behind where they'd want to be. They're not out of it by any means. They'd probably like to be around about 100.
Overton to Simpson off the mark. Oh, they should have come back for 2. I think Simpson wanted it, but Eskenazi was slightly slow out of his crease. And again, we talked about the difference between these two sides, that fielding element. Middlesex are sloppy, a little bit careless perhaps in the field. Surrey have been right on the money.
Yeah, 218 could have been kind of 2.5, couldn't it? 2.5, 2.10. There was certainly 3 or 4 misfields that were costly.
Overton to Eskenazi. Pulls us into the onside. Is there going to be a man underneath it? My goodness, what an effort that was. Flying through the air, diving to his left. He couldn't make it, so he doesn't get the catch. He hits a 6 instead, and it means that Eskenazi, instead of being out, has brought up his 50.
Yeah, he had another 50 for Stevie Eskenazi in this 2020 Blast campaign. He's 4th. What an effort, though, from Rory Burns. We've seen him in the slips for England, haven't we? He's a fine fielder, diving away, but he flung himself to his left. He was horizontal, flicked off his hand and onto the boundary rope for a maximum for Eskenazi. So he's standing here, Stevie Eskenazi. He's outside off stump. He knows that Overton wants to bowl wide to him.
Overton full, flashes it into the offside, straight to backward point. Eskenazi's 50 brought up inside 27 balls, 5 6s. A neat return. They'll need to carry on if Middlesex are going to get anywhere near this total. 96 for 2. They need another 123 runs for the next 9 overs.
Yeah, you think these two are key, Izzy. You think Eskenazi, you're quite right. If they're going to have any aspirations at all of chasing down such a large target, you think he's got to probably go through to 100. Simpson's got to play a fine hand too. This left-right combination key.
Batty into Simpson, pushing off his back foot. Single out to backward point.
With Batty, he's going to bowl quick. He's going to bowl into the pitch. He's going to bowl pretty straight here, I would think.
Full. Eskenazi turns it onto the onside. Batty fielding off his own bowling. Just get the feeling there's sort of implicit nod between the two Middlesex batters. They know it's going to have to be those two that get the bulk of these runs. Big thrash of the bat by Eskenazi. Oh, Simpson has got his first 6. Out to cow corner, left-hander. Has timed that beautifully, placed it beautifully. As a man outer long on, man outer mid-wicket. He's plopped it between the two. Just over the boundary rope. 6 more, 104 for 2. Batty again, straight away. Almost the identical delivery, identical shot. Consecutive 6s to Simpson. He moves to 14, 110 for 2.
Well, it's poor bowling from Gareth Batty, you have to say. He's vastly experienced. I know what he's trying to do. He's trying to bowl it hard into the pitch, try and skid it through. He doesn't want to bowl it floaty, so he gets swept over there.
This one's pushed into the offside. Dot ball.
Batty just feeling his hamstring. You just wonder whether these 42 years just catching up with him. Ooh. He's going over that, stretching that left hamstring as an off spinner. You go up and over that front leg, just clutching at the back of it. You just feel sometimes when you get into your late 30s, 40s, Every now and again there's a game, there's a bowling innings, it might be just one too far. And Batty looks in some discomfort. You won't want to give up though, especially having been doinked for 2 sixes. He'll want to fight back. That's his nature.
One more ball left of this 12th over. Here he comes. No, he's pulled out. He can't. He really wanted it. He really wanted to carry on. But I don't know if it's his hamstring, calf muscle.
He's going to try. He's going to try one more time, I think. This is a big moment in this match because he's also the captain, remember. He pulls the strings out there. They've got other options, of course. Rory Burns is captain the championship side. Led Surrey to championship success. Ben Folkes could do it.
Batty is going to try and bowl it. He does. He darts it back down and it's a dot ball. What an effort from the Surrey skipper. But you'd have thought that that's going to be the last that we see of Gareth Batty tonight. And it means that after 12 overs, Middlesex are 110 for 2.
So that's Gareth Batty. Looks like he's going to wander off the field, is he? He's reversing, he's jogging off, but yeah, you can tell by the way he's limping. That is a left hamstring. He was stretching it. It's unlike him to bowl 2 long hops, so perhaps he was hampered by that hamstring all along. But it's going to be the end of his evening. Interesting to see who pulls the strings. Interesting to see how that will affect Surrey morale. For Batty's sake and Surrey's sake, I hope that's not how he bows out and finishes his career.
Eskenazi on strike, Overton towards him. Shouts of catches, sailing, flying through the air back at a point, but I'll get 4 for it. We've had a few boundaries, a couple of 6s in the previous over, a 4 now, and you just feel, even though that required run rate is up there, above 13 runs and over, that with Eskenazi in, seeing them like this and support from Simpson at the other end, Middlesex, might they just...
Yeah, momentum just changing a bit in this match, is he? You're quite right. I think Batty hobbling off, almost symbolic at the changing tide of this match. What can Overton do about it? Short and wide, he's been punished.
Eskenazi, 55 not out. Fuller, flayed over backward point, 1 bounce 4. This is the form that we've seen Eskenazi in the whole way through this tournament. He's had a cracking time of it so far. Top of the Middlesex averages. Top of the Middlesex strike rate pretty much. I mean, Holden's at 150, Eskenazi at 149s. And this one is an important knock from the red ball skipper.
Yeah, and I wonder with the confidence of Jamie Overton, big money move to Surrey. He's only bowled 5 overs in this competition, no wickets for 63. That's an economy rate of 12.6. So we talked, didn't we, about Martin Anderson not having bowled much and his economy rate. Well, ditto that for Jamie Overton.
Makes room for himself, Eskenazi, moves really wide into the offside. And it's a full one. He guides down to third man. Moves to 60, 119 for 2.
What Jamie Overton has got is express pace. Sometimes that can work against you as a bowler in this format. See the way Eskenazi just opened the blade, used the pace of Overton, going to get it backward of point. The last 3 balls have all gone down in that direction. A couple of boundaries and a single. What has Overton got by way of change up? Haven't seen too much other than the quick one.
Incredible as well to think that his first 4 deliveries were dot balls. Before we saw that massive 6 from Joe Cracknell, as this one's banged hard into the turf. Simpson gets on top of it, doesn't time it. Mid-wicket racing in from the boundary, single to the total.
This is where the left-right combination is key, because Eskenazi, if he gets that delivery, that short one, that banged-in ball, he's got the leg side boundary, the short tavern side boundary, he can just swivel on it, pull it for 6. Simpson, facing the spinner from the far end, can target the short boundary by virtue of being left-handed. So this is a key partnership. Good move from Stuart Law and the brains, throwing Simpson into the mix.
Eskenazi waits, leaves it. Don't see that often. I wonder, was he angling for a wide? It wasn't that wide.
No, he's just got it all under control. He just can leave. He can leave the odd delivery. We've gone along quite nicely last few balls. I think he overthought it. He was walking outside off stump to start with, which he's done a couple of times. He's saying to Overton, I know you're trying to bowl wide. I'm going to come across to make it into a straighter ball that I can pick up on that leg side. So he walked out outside the off stump, then he walked back, then he rather confused himself and left.
Yeah, maybe.
And chuckled as well as it went past.
Or I'll go with the MS Dhoni theory of just, I'll leave a few balls and I'll smash it to smithereens. Eskenazi, this one he does get hold of, and this is careered into the offside. 3 or 4 rows back in the grandstand. That's a beautiful looking shot. Goes the distance. He's now scored 6 sixes this evening, 126 for 2.
Well, you can pay him no greater compliment, can you, than MS Dhoni-esque. Because he was the
as well, isn't it? They just stand there, ...
because they know
they explode.
They know they can hit the sixes, and Eskenazi's in that kind of form. He's hit a bucket load of them. 6 of them now for Eskenazi. 2 fours, 6 sixes in his 66, which is tough to say actually. 6 sixes in his 66.
Wow, there's the equation. 93 from 42. They've got 8 wickets left. Eskenazi's in on 66. Simpson there at the other end on 15. He's on strike now. This one he's pushed into the offside, and my goodness, I say he's pushed it. It's a 1 bounce 4, wide of long off. That was such a weird shot. I just thought it hung in the air. It might plug, fall in front of the fielder, but it went all the way down to the boundary edge.
It's the power of John Simpson. He's not a big man, he's wiry strong, isn't he? He's just like a guy that would bench press more than you'd think in the gym, just timed it over extra cover.
Jacks. Down to Simpson. Plugs it to long on. So we've seen Gareth Batty have to retire from the field with a crooked hamstring. And he's got his younger model in to replace him.
Yes, half his age, 21 years of age. He's been the standout bowler so far, Will Jacks. First 3 overs costing just 14 runs.
Eskenazi pushing this into the onside. They're looking at 2, but fielder does well to charge in from the boundary at mid-wicket. Stops them coming back for another.
Topley at 9.5s. Jacks at just over 4.5s at the start of this over. And then Batty and Overton at 12s. Moriarty 11.5s.
Jacks full, and there's a stumping appeal. It's a wide ball. Simpson had a big stride, flayed at the ball. That's all right for Middlesex. Don't mind that one.
It's cat and mouse, isn't it? Jacks going wide outside the off stump, bowling it slowly, trying to entice the slog sweep from Simpson. You try and slog sweep a ball that wide, you put it straight up in the air if you get anything of it.
Comes again, dart-like delivery. Pushes Simpson onto his toes, thinking of 2. Big call from Eskenazi, stops him coming back. 2 balls left of this 14th over. Eskenazi waits. Carves it into the offside, back at a point. Man on the boundary, gets it in. Single for Middlesex. Still an ominous looking run rate. Just under 14 per over required. They're batting well, but they need to carry this through.
Trying to see who's captaining out there. Is it Burns? Is it Folkes?
I thought it was Burns.
Burns has moved himself, or has been moved into the ring. So perhaps that's an indication that it is Rory Burns.
Final ball of this Jack spell. There's a dot ball. That's a good way to end it for the Surrey man. He ends his 4 overs, 23 off them. No wickets, but that's not a bad return at all in this high-scoring match.
Yeah, it's a potential man of the match performance, isn't it? From Will Jacks. Quick fire, 55 with the bat. Decent performance with the ball. Just a reminder to keep your votes coming in and your thoughts coming in at Middlesex_CCC for the Knight Frank player of the match. Stevie Eskenazi could be on course. Perhaps some Late order fireworks from someone who's yet to come in to get Middlesex over the line. John Simpson also in contention at the moment. But tell us what you think of the stream of Middlesex's campaign so far and this match we're seeing tonight. We'd love to have you with us, but in your absence, in the flesh, do get in touch.
Just had a word that Joe Cracknell's 6 that was hit onto the top of the scorer's box is on social media. So if you're on Twitter, Facebook, go and have a look at it. It's a sight to behold.
Just looking at where Stevie Eskenazi's standing here, he is moving around this crease. But at times, as the bowler's about to run in, he's standing almost a foot outside off stump, and then he kind of wanders back in line. So the plan here is going to be wide outside off stump, you'd think, from Reece Topley. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some sort of sweep.
Here he comes, 15th over. Slow at delivery. Really well contained there from Topley. Eskenazi almost following the ball round, but it brings up the 50 partnership. 27 balls, Eskenazi 21 of them, Simpson 28. That's what they needed, that's what they still need. Something like that to come again. Run rate very much now up at the 14s. 14.2 per over. Topley, top of his mark, certainly in conversation with what we think is a stand-in captain, Rory Burns. He goes out to long on. Left-handed Simpson on strike. Full toss. Pushed into the onside, coming back for 2. It's a minimum, really, for Middlesex. Simpson to 23, 138 for 2. Topley, floodlights blaring down. Short ball, shouts of catch, lands short. Didn't get hold of that one, Simpson.
Yeah, good over this from Topley, isn't it? Showing all his experience. Keeping the ball away from that leg side when Eskenazi's on strike and bowling nice and straight to Simpson. When the lefty faces up. Bowling to his field, bowling to a plan. Middlesex need a boundary.
Round the wicket, full. Carved into the offside Eskenazi. There's a man out at backward point. And he's done a really good job out there. Not only saved a boundary, but stopped them coming back for 2. Eskenazi to 70, 140 for 2. Run rate, required run rate, creeping up.
It's tough to stay patient, isn't it? But you've still got to accept that Reece Topley might not be the man that you get the big over from.
Full again, well bowled. Simpson digs it out. Out to Burns at long on. Another 1 to the total. This is really good bowling from Topley.
We can't afford here as a wicket. There's going to be other bowlers that have to come back into the fold. Like Atkinson or a Moriarty. Maybe they're the ones that you've got to take down.
Final ball of his 15th. Topley aborts, pulls out of his run-up, and my goodness, I'm just looking at Eskenazi. He stood about 3 stumps outside off stump.
Yeah, he wants to get this one away, doesn't he? He wants that length ball that he can flick into the leg side. He's got fine leg up, he's got square leg up. So if he can get a straight ball that he can flick over the leg side, 4 or 6, that's what he's looking for. Topley knows that.
Final ball then, and this one he thrashes into the onside. That's going to be 4. Flat batted swats towards cow corner. In control. And that's why we've seen him time and time again move across to the off stump. And it means that after 15 overs, Middlesex are 145 for 2. that's going well. Eskenazi in on 74, Simpson on 25, but they need to carry that on because they're going to need to get another 74 runs in the next 5 overs, so 30 balls to do it in. Run rate required of just under 15 per over. It's a steep ask. This is the partnership that can do it for Middlesex if they're going to get there. Has to be these two, really.
And this could be the key matchup from a Middlesex perspective. Simpson trying to take down the left arm spinner Moriarty. You'd think he'd want to go wide outside off stump. This could pick out long off. It's gone for 6. What a shot from John Simpson. It's about 300 yards away from where we're watching this game. And when he hit it, it looked like it was straight down his throat. And that is why you go to the gym in the winter, because that is the difference between 6 and out. And that could be the difference between Middlesex winning this game and not. Looked like it was going to go straight down his throat, and it crept over. Not a good looking shot from Simpson, but he picks out extra cover. Rory Burns. Good bowling for Moriarty. Simpson will just want to be able to get under this to the leg side, to that short boundary. This time it's up, and this will be out. Taken at backward point. That is the end of John Simpson. Might that be the end of the match? Well, there's Eskenazi there. There's hope for Middlesex, but that is a big wicket from a Surrey perspective. Simpson goes for a very fine 31. And Middlesex are 151 for 3. Well bowled, Daniel Moriarty.
Yeah, well bowled indeed. Just when you thought Middlesex were creeping back in it, you saw the cameras pan to the players on the bench, to Stuart Law, the head coach. There's a little bit of hope, a flicker of that. You feel that remains so long as Eskenazi's at the crease. But his ally there in Simpson means that it's going to be the young guns that have to do it alongside him. Davies then to the crease. Young Jack Davies, 20 years of age.
Well, it was a ballsy bowling change, wasn't it? Moriarty, left arm spin to the left-handed batsman with a short leg side boundary. But he got it full, he got it wide. And he got his man. Eskenazi once again tipping into the leg side. Davies looks quick. Doesn't want the 2 though. So Smith out there, I think. Was it Atkinson? Yeah, really quick field. Really quick in the field, sorry. I guess that's the only thing with Gareth Batty going off. You get a young whippersnapper on. So left-handed Davies into the leg side will pick up a single. This is turning out to be a very good over for Surrey. There's a 6 off the first ball. He's bounced back in style. Well, Daniel Moriarty, Stevie Eskenazi just flips the bat. He knows that was not his best effort off the last ball, just trying to turn it into the leg side. What I like about Eskenazi and the way he's paced this innings is he just kind of hits himself in the grill, just trying to get himself going.
G himself up.
Yeah, trying to G himself up. But what he hasn't done, he hasn't thrown it away. All the while he's there, they're a chance. They're not a big chance, but they're a chance. He gets out, the game's well and truly gone. So he has to find that balance. And I think he will be looking to take down Jamie Overton. He's done it before, he did it earlier in the piece. And Davis's job from this end is to get Eskenazi back on strike. So here he comes, the big fast bowler. He's recently moved from Somerset, and Davies does just that. Turns it into the leg side. He's scampering. Settle for the single. Great bit of work from Ben Folkes. That's what Middlesex need. They need Eskenazi facing Overton.
Yeah, a moment of hesitation there as they thinking about coming back for the 2, but actually this could be quite a good result, having Eskenazi there. Overton got hit for 36 of his first 3. It's going at quite some rate, and Eskenazi especially took a liking to him.
Yeah, they've taken him for 12s. They're going to need to take him for more than that. The required rate is edging up towards 17. So you think the time is now. Eskenazi will be targeting the leg side. Look at the field. There's a deep backward point, a deep point, and a third man. This is going to be wide outside his off stump. Stay away from that leg side boundary. Eskenazi cuts. Picks out one of those 3 fielders on the offside. Good bit of bowling and some good field placing, we think, by Rory Burns, who seems to be pulling the strings out there.
Yeah, I just saw Eskenazi running through, tilt his head to the heavens. Frustration there. He knows that it's going to have to go much more than run a ball. About 3 a ball really now.
Well, the advantage for a batsman when you get a field like that is you know where the ball's going to be. You know it's going to be wide outside off stump. It's one thing knowing where it's going to bounce or pitch is do something about it. Davis flicking into the leg side. That went quickly. It's just going to be another single. And with every single, so the rate climbs.
Does indeed. 63 required to win. 21 balls to do it. Slipping away here for the home side. Got 7 wickets in hand. Eskenazi at the crease. Doable, yes. Likely. Less and less.
Well bowled, Jamie Overton. They're going to get another single. Eskenazi getting right across outside off stump. Desperate to target that leg side. Overton got it in the block hole. And the 4th single from this over. And the rate continues to climb.
Yeah, that's such a good piece of bowling. You think we saw the 6th at the beginning of that Moriarty over, and then it's been dot wicket, 2 runs. 2 further runs in that over against him, and then 3 singles so far. It's changed a lot since then.
Can Davis help Eskenazi out? Turns it into the leg side. It's going to be the 5th single of the over. It's a very good one from a Surrey perspective. Jamie Overton.
Six runs off the last 9 deliveries. It's exactly what Surrey wanted, Middlesex didn't. It's almost up there at having to score at 20 runs per over. Oh dear.
This has got to go over the rope. And it doesn't. Overton picks up, throws. If it hits, he's gone, and Eskenazi is gone. Great bit of work from Jamie Overton. Completes a fine over, and Eskenazi drops his bat. And does he drop the game for Middlesex? He's played a fine hand, 77 from 43 deliveries. Terrific innings from him. But with his dismissal, the game looks like it might be up for Middlesex.
Yeah, what a reply there from Overton. We said first 3 overs went for 36. That final one going for just 5, and with the run out as well. Eskenazi, well applauded off the field by Middlesex teammates, Surrey support staff alike. It's been a joy to watch. But you feel for Middlesex, now that he's gone, it's just too much of an ask for the youngsters there at the crease. Looks like it's Martin Anderson walking out. A lot of potential, a lot of firepower.
Yeah, a word for Jamie Overton as well. That was a fine over when his team needed it most. You know, he hasn't been in the best of bowling form. He's made the big move from Somerset to Surrey, all kinds of pressure, and he's getting smoked around the home of cricket by Eskenazi and co. And when his team needed him, he stepped up. And he's a big man, got down and ran him out. So Moriarty continues. He's going to be bowling to Anderson, the new batsman, pushes to extra cover. Rory Burns content to let him have a single. Just when they needed to, Surrey have tightened the noose. And Davies, well, he's got his short leg side boundary. That's what he's going to have to hope for. Targets that leg side, is in the gap. He's only going to get a couple for it. It's a good looking shot. As the fielder slips on the deep mid-wicket fence.
Yeah, it just plugged, didn't it? Not quite got the firepower.
Tries the reverse sweep. Just a hint of desperation for Middlesex at the moment. Tough ask for the most experienced of campaigners, and you've got a couple of young fellas out there in the middle at the moment. Wouldn't have seen this too many times. That could work. A little inside edge. Amler's after it. They're going to get at least two. Flicks it back. Reece Topley completes the fielding. That has been a point of difference this evening. Surrey have been sharp in the field. Middlesex not quite at their best. Not sure it'd be the difference of 20 or 30 runs, mind. Davis goes aerial. He's just going to pick out long off, and that is another wicket, and these wickets are going to come thick and fast now as Middlesex throw the long handle, attempting the impossible. Bad luck, Jack Davis. Had no option really. 4s and 6s are the only way for Middlesex to prosper. And he's on his way. He's gone for 8. And this game, Izzy Westbury, I think might be up.
Yeah, well, Moriarty as well. You felt as though that was the sort of the real, the turning point when he hit. It was Simpson who hit that 6 off his first ball of his third over. Just about cleared the boundary long off, and you thought, right, Middlesex have a chance here. You've got Simpson in, you can time shots like that. You've got Eskenazi going great guns at the other end, but then since that 6, we saw Simpson fall 2 balls later, and then all Middlesex have managed to do is dot singles and a 2 here and there. No boundary since.
Moriarty in again. Anderson once again picks out Burns an extra cover, just the single. And that completes the 18th over, 164 for 5.
I think it's doing a disservice to Surrey's total to say that that was the turning point, but certainly that was the point in which perhaps any hope slipped from Middlesex's grasp. Oh well. Now we're going to see Topley. Reece Topley, he's bowled 3 overs, gone for 29 runs. I wonder if Anderson can have a bit of fun at least at the crease.
Yeah, these are difficult times as a batsman when you pretty much know the game's up. I've been there myself at the end of an innings. When you know you haven't quite got the firepower to get your team over the line, you've got to try your best. Middlesex know this is now on a lost cause. Martin Anderson, can he find the fence? 4 ball from Topley. He just knocks it into the offside. Going to get a single. I guess there are some positives though. Middlesex will take to that game at Canterbury on Wednesday. 3 away matches. This is the last game at Lord's. And if they can win those 3, then they have still a chance of progressing from the South Group. And there have been some positives. Young players have acquitted themselves well. Tremendous batting from Eskenazi, Simpson, the emergence of Joe Cracknell on debut. So it's not all doom and gloom as Middlesex try out these young players. But, they run into Surrey, a good Surrey side tonight. Topley bowling. Holman, the new batsman. Once again, just a single. And you can see how difficult it is Izzy to start. Eskenazi was in, he was going well, he was timing the ball. When you have to walk out in these situations and face the likes of Overton and Topley and the canny spinner in Moriarty, and you're a tail ender or middle order player, not easy. Anderson swings leg side, doesn't get all of it. Be the single. Jacks does the fielding. I guess the only other thing to play for at the moment is the old net run rate. We're not quite sure whether that could be a factor. The top 2 from each of the 3 groups will qualify, and then the best 2 third-place sides, and you could imagine there being level on points and possibly level on wins somewhere along the line. So the closer you can get, the better your net run rate will be. As Topley into Holman, slices away on the offside. Once again, it's just going to be the single.
And good bowling here from Topley. Just having a look at that table, the South Group table. One thing you can say of Middlesex, if they're going to make it into the quarterfinals, they've got to do it by beating the table toppers, Kent, Sussex as well.
Anderson chips over extra cover. Can I get a couple this time? Holman will scurry back. 2 runs won't worry Surrey too much as Folks collects.
Kent top of the table, 10 points. Sussex there on 9. Surrey will actually overtake Sussex at this stage. I don't think they'll quite have the run rate of Kent, but we'll see when everything settles down. Middlesex will be in the tranche below.
Slow ball from Topley, hammered down the ground from Anderson. Time this one. Burns has dropped himself back to long off. And once again, it is a single. So we've got to just do the maths. How many required off this last over?
I think it is 48.
48. So get your skates on, you've got to run hard.
Yeah.
Got to hope for a few no balls, free hits and all sorts. But, just try and have a little bit of fun. Ordinarily, you're back first. 171 for 5 going into the last over. Maybe they'll look back at the option to field first, Stephen Finn, and think, yeah, maybe it wasn't the right call, but, you know, good sides. If they're going to progress, you've got to learn to win chasing as well as setting. Short ball hammered by Anderson. Let's see who this is. Is it Atkinson back into the attack?
Like mist just flooding the ground. Dewy mist. Floodlights, full beam, pitch black sky above us. It's a lovely way to end things at Lords in this T20 Blast.
Holman swings away onto the offside. Doesn't get much of it. Bit of a bottom edge. Out it goes for a single. Just think if there had been 28,000 people in watching this, they would have left probably with a bit of drink inside them, having had a thoroughly entertaining evening. One or two might have started to filter away from the ground now as this contest is to all intents and purposes over. They do tend to hang around. As Atkinson comes in again, he's bowling to Martin Anderson, and that's the first boundary we've seen for a while. Just helps it over the short fine leg fielder. Do himself no harm if he can hit a few boundaries. Finish with 20 or so. He's 12 at the moment.
I think that was the first boundary since we saw that 6 off from Simpson many moons ago, it feels like now. Yeah, in the 16th over, now on the 20th. That's where it all dried up, last 5 overs.
There's a bit of a misfield out there as I think batsmen nearly run into each other. It's just got a slightly anticlimactic feel to it at the moment. I think both these sides are quite happy for this game to be over now. What's happened here? Umpire Rob Bailey has his arm out, does he? Is he signalling? It's free hit, it's a no ball. Atkinson has overstepped. It's a free hit, and Middlesex could do with about 6 more of these. No ball free hits. This won't please Alex Stewart and the Surrey management. They want to win this as well as they can. Atkinson to Anderson. Down the leg side. This is going to be a wide. Maybe this game isn't over, is he? Atkinson has 15 minutes or so of the yips, and it's game on.
Doing his part and keeping a contest alive. Like to see that. Very sporting of him.
Running in a bit slower now. This one is straighter and he's nailed down the ground by Anderson. Going to get a boundary, is he? No, good bit of fielding. Long on just knocks it to his mate at long off. Anderson got a good piece of that one. Atkinson trudges back to his mark. Once again, it's Anderson into the leg side. I think they'll just settle for the second. Another misfield. So where has this been? So we're just commending Surrey on how well they fielded, perhaps getting a little bit dewy. And this time they come back for 3. And that can happen when the game's up. Fielders know that the job is done. Just taking their foot off the gas a little bit. But, useful runs for Anderson.
The required run rate is 192 runs and over.
Yeah, good luck. It's good that it works it out that quickly. I know you're looking at the board, you didn't just do that calculation. I know you're clever, but...
Whiz kid. Right here.
Shh. Atkinson, the Holman to finish things off, and Holman just knocks it into the leg side. The fielders, the batsman jog through for a single. The fielders wander towards the batsman, and are rather subdued, as all these games tend to be, with no crowd in. The handshakes, the elbows, the foot touches. Umpire Rob Bailey just kind of, just presents an elbow. And that is game, set and match to Surrey. 188 for 5 Middlesex finish. So comfortable in the end. When Eskenazi and Simpson were going, Izzy Middlesex were a chance, but Moriarty picking up of Simpson, that was the turning point, and the Middlesex innings rather subsided from then on.
Yeah, I think so. And it's the first time in these home games that Middlesex have opted to bat second, to